When you really sit back at your life and you are in that dark room and you're looking at where you started from and you tell yourself, God, dog, man, my mom is this way, my soon-to-be stepdad got murdered, my dad beat the shit out of me, I can't read and write to save my soul, I've lied about it to everybody, I've cheated on all these tests. My God, man. And then you put a goal in your mind. How are you gonna feel, man, when you accomplish this goal coming from that? Coming from the fucking hell you came from. A lot of people start from a good starting point. They have a good foundation. What if you can surpass all of these motherfuckers? What if everybody who was fucking way up here started up here, and you started with no legs. You had to grow legs to even start walking, and then crawling, and then running, and then you start passing people with all this given to them.
If you're serious about change, just know you're gonna go through some uncomfortable situations. Stop trying to dodge the process, because in the long run, it's gonna make you better. And don't forget that shit, you heard?
There's a hell of a lot more to you than you think, like way more. Enough to cope with the trouble of the world inside you. There's enough to cope with the trouble of the world. And you, if you had enough courage, you could let that out. Enough courage and faith, you could let that out, and everything would be better because of it. Really, really. And so that's a good story, and it's also true. And so I'm trying to tell that story.
And it's so much easier to make the same choice every single day. And the hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. And the moment you decide to make a different choice, you're going to feel uncomfortable because you're stepping from the known into the unknown. So some people would rather cling to their self-pity than take a chance and possibility. They'd rather tell the story of their past instead of telling the story of their future. They'd rather believe in their past instead of believe in their future.
You don't find out who people really are till the shit hits the fan. And
in that sense, it's useful.
100%. People talk a lot of, you know, how much they care about their employees or how good a friendship is or how good a relationship is, but you really don't know until you hit hard times.
See, the point is, you don't know how much future you've got. What's gone is gone. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Some of you have had divorces. Some of you have probably had bankruptcies. Some of you have had terrible things happen in the past. But what's gone is gone. It's in the past. And to spend your time focusing on the past is to spend the only thing that you've got, and that's what's right here, right now, because the sand never stops running. This is all we've got. And to spend your time now thinking of what happened there is making absolute certain that the future is going to be the same as the past.
There's so much opportunity on the other side of being willing to persist for an extended period of time on the correct path without getting positive reinforcement from your environment. And the longer you can stick with something without that positive feedback loop in terms of the big external thing, the easier the opportunities are because so few people can pursue them.
You have to start with action. It needs to be, okay, what would have had to have happened in a week's time for me to look back on that week and find pride in myself? Maybe stop breaking promises to yourself. When you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 7 a.m., and when the option comes to hit the snooze button, don't do it. There's one win that you've got for the day. That's action.
Whatever I'm afraid to do, I do it. Anything I'm afraid of, I confront it. And that's my personality. Like right now, I'm scared to death. But as the fight gets closer, the less nervous I become because it's reality. And in reality, I'm invincible.
And here's the reality. The hardest thing in life is figuring out who you are and what you want to do for the rest of your life. It's a big decision. I'm very blessed and lucky. I always knew who I was and exactly what I wanted to do. And once you figure that out, you wake up every day and you work toward it. That's what you do. It's impossible for you to fail if you know who you are, what you want to do, and you wake up every day and work toward it.
A little of the poison that kills you will redeem you. Look upon that which you fear and grow. Right? That's the definition of growth. That's how you learn. You go out on the edge and you look at something poisonous and you get stronger. Right? And so God thinks, well, I'm not going to get rid of the snakes, but I'll make the Israelites stronger. And you asked why we have a challenge in front of it. It's like, we're here to become stronger. We're not here to be protected. And you get stronger in proportion to your willingness to look at what terrifies you.
You see this guy just fighting. I love the fucking guy who just fucking fights. And so I put these things in as reminders that you're gonna have to fucking suffer, man. This fucking 0.25, man, this is, man, you're gonna have to fucking suffer to go from this fat, insecure motherfucker to one of the best guys on the planet Earth. This journey is gonna take something that is gonna be incomprehensible to most people.
And so as long as you can be in a place where you're constantly looking to the next place, next place, next place, next place, and you don't let anything get in the way of that or hinder that, then you have a really good chance to be everything you ever wanted to be in life.
The man who never failed, the man who never fell has no glory. The man who fell and got back up, that's where his glory is. The man who fell 20 times and got up 21 times, that man has even greater glory.
Wow.
That man has more courage, way more courage than the guy who was so strong from birth that he never failed. There's no glory in that.
I think one of the biggest mistakes people generally make, and I'm guilty of it too, is wishful thinking. You know, like you want something to be true, even if it isn't true. And so you ignore the things that, you ignore the real truth because of what you want to be true. This is a very difficult trap to avoid. And like I said, it's certainly one that I find myself in having problems with. But if you just take that approach of you're always to some degree wrong, and your goal is to be less wrong.
When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. That most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep. If you really want to be successful, some days you're going to have to stay up 3 days in a row. You got to want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat.
You got to be willing to do the work. You can speak about it all day. The easiest thing in the world to do is to complain, blame, and quit and settle. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. But it takes real work to deconstruct and to reconstruct the thought process and the mindset of an individual when they're trying to change something. That's why I always say to people, what's more important, what we acquire or who we become, right? What's more important, what we acquire or who we become? Materialistic, superficial, it's cool. But the people that we become, the thoughts we think, the words we speak, that's something that's going to travel with us forever.
Doubt is such a strange thing. I mean, it's, there'll be times where you succeed and there are times that you fail. So wasting your time doubting whether you're going to be successful or not is pointless. It is. You just put one foot in front of the other, you control what you can't control, and then you see what the outcome is, right? If you win, great. You're going to have to wake up the next day and do the journey over again. If you lose, it sucks, but you're gonna have to wake up the next day and do the journey all over again anyway, right? So it's really pointless to sit here and debate or have doubt or this, that, and the other. You train as hard as you can, and you step out there and you let it flow.
Quit wasting time by your own definition. It's like people shake their heads, like, oh, I never thought about it that way. It's like, yeah, think about it that way. Don't waste your damn life. And then you think, well, why would people be resistant to that message? It's like, well, you really want to wake up and figure out that you're wasting half your life? And when people do that kind of wasting, they actually hate it.
You do not need them to believe in you. You do not need your friends to tell you you're great. All you have to do is go become great, and they will recognize it. Like, you don't need permission, motherfuckers. It's hard. It's not easy. Every day you wake up, you're gonna have shit go wrong. Every day you wake up, you're gonna have bad things happen. How you need to look at this as a test. It's a test. Do you pass the test or do you not pass the test? You need to, when you have a bad day, bro, you wake up and everything's going wrong.
You have to hit rock bottom. That's the way up. Yeah, rock bottom is beautiful. The struggle of coming back is beautiful. That struggle. It doesn't appear like it's beautiful while you're going through it. You're being tested. And without a test, there's no testimony.
And even if you're not where you want to be in life and you're grinding and you're on that hustle.
And there's a lot of people like that,
I get it.
right? Yeah,
I get it. Keep grinding, but also appreciate it. Appreciate that hustle. Appreciate this thing. Appreciate this fucking beautiful, chaotic, unknown existence you're in.
The thing we call life.
Yeah, that you don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. It's open-ended. It's wide.
Yes, man.
It's a complete open loop experience. You don't know what the fuck is coming next, and you're just trying to enjoy the ride.
Because I think any person, any human realizes that if you want some kind of a good outcome, you're going to have to work hard for it. and if you don't work hard for something, you're not going to get an outcome that's really worth much.
I always say the best day of a man's life is the day he realizes that nobody's coming to save him. If he can know that and feel peace about it and almost be excited about it because he gets to go fight his own hero's journey, he'll win. If he can accept it, he'll win. Because you take entire responsibility for your life. Too many people give up responsibility in their life so they can point the finger at somebody else. If you take all of it, even when it's not your fault, I've had to do this so many times, particularly around hiring. You take responsibility for everything, regardless of whose fault it is, or the market, or a race, or religion, or who's president. I don't give a fuck who's president. I'm gonna win no matter what. Your blind grandmother could be president. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna do the same thing I did yesterday.
Instead of watching that movie, call your dad. Instead of watching that movie, call your mom. Take her out for dinner if you got a spare 50 quid instead of getting drunk with your friends. Appreciate the things you have. Most young people don't realize how rich they are. Money can't buy everything. And when I was 18, I was richer than I am today in some ways. I still had my father, for example. So I had no money, but I could call my father anytime I liked and talk to him and shoot the shit, just talk about life. Maybe I wasn't looking for advice. Regardless if the conversation was useful or not, I could have spent more time talking to him, and I didn't. You assume that the things that you have when you're young are going to be around forever. You assume you'll never die, your health will never fade, your parents aren't going to go. You assume all these things, and you live every day like every day is going to be the same. But if you're young, appreciate how wealthy you are. I mean, there are children in Palestine right now with no family at all. If you've got both parents, a good home, food to eat, you're very lucky. Enjoy that wealth while it lasts, because you could make $1 billion. I could almost guarantee that when you're 60, your parents aren't going to be around, and you'll trade everything you have just to speak to them again. So you're wealthier than you think. Your life is better than you think. Appreciate the things that you have before you lose them, because you will lose them. It's not a matter of if mom dies, if dad dies, if my grandparents die. Assuming nature goes the right way, it will happen. It's when, it's not if.
That's called life. That's not even hard shit, bro. What are you gonna do when hard shit happens? You're talking about life. That's life. There's gonna be distractions. Your job is to discipline yourself to a point where these distractions don't pull you off track, or you're able to manage them. It's never gonna go your way. It's never gonna be easy. There are always gonna be things that break. There are always gonna be things that go wrong. And your job is to get through this regardless of what comes your way. And the best perspective that you can take is to look at it like a test.
I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. You always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that.
Perfection does not exist. I do firmly stand on that and believe that. Absolutely. It doesn't exist, man. You should try your hardest to get things right. In moments where you got them wrong, figure out how to never get them wrong again. That's the world of compromise. That's the world of growth. That's the world of evolvement.
I think one of the first ones that I started to learn that you can't really give a fuck about what people say no more. Because everybody gonna fucking critique everything that you do, no matter what you do. That shit will creep into your mind, no matter if you believe it or not. It's wasted energy. Yeah, it's wasted energy.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life. There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mind. Every single one of them. Think about it. Really was. Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up. Every single day, your mind is one that tells you, get up. And your feelings like, an extra 30 minutes, just roll it. Don't worry about it. And your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Listen, it's not the popular decision. You are gonna hurt. You are gonna piss a lot of people off.
Yep.
All right. Are you gonna piss them off for the short term? Or are you gonna piss them off for the long term?
Man, the beauty of being someone who has to go through struggle, because you get that. If there's no struggle, there's no, if there's no struggle, then it's nothing. There's no journey. There's no journey. You know, you get to make that magic, man. You get to be the story.
I work hard now, so the second half of my life, I can do whatever the fuck I want. That's been my mentality. It's like, I'm not gonna trick off my early years for partying and then worry about struggling, how I'm gonna make it, how I'm gonna take care of my family, how I'm gonna take care of everybody else. Like, that's not gonna be me. I'm gonna grind it out now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna set up the foundation so I can enjoy myself later. That's always been my mentality, and that works for me.
My mom used to say this to me, and I had to really think about this. And she used to tell me all the time, if we all threw our problems in a pile, I guarantee you would take your shit back and run.
Yeah.
So let that sit in for a little bit. Think about it.
When you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil. He's coming for you too. So you just gotta be strong and stay on the right side. Whose side you gonna go on? He's gonna give you power too. He's gonna get in your head too, but it's whose side you gonna stay with. You stay with who brought you here. You go home with the guy that brought you to the dance.
As soon as you, as a person, decide that you're not gonna lie anymore, and that whatever problem that you have, you're gonna deal with that problem right then where it presents itself, it'll show you a whole new side of you.
I think you would give me everything you own in 25 years' time to be the age you are now and as healthy as you are right now. And I think it's a really interesting meditation to think about, right, if you had a time machine, if you were 30 years in the future, if you could be this healthy and feel this good and be this age, you'd give everything materially that you own in 30 years' time to be back here. And just to take that in for a minute, just to take a moment to think about, wow, this is amazing.
Single day, man, getting up, and as cliche as it sounds when you tell a person, hey man, don't take life for granted, right? And I kind of hear it go in one ear, go out the other. But bro, one of the most underrated blessings is leaving your house and making it back home every single day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an underrated blessing that we just assume it's gonna happen. And every single day, cats leave the crib and they don't make it back to their children. They don't make it back to their spouses. But we leave our house every single day. We just assume, like, man, I'm gonna make it back. I'll see you later, right? And it's like, man, who promised you that? Every single day, all that comes with it, right? Highs, lows, successes, failures, right? Tough moments, right? Great moments, all that comes with it, the totality of it. Appreciate all of it, right? Because we need all of it in terms of our development and the people that we're striving to become. And I say striving because we're constantly evolving. And so I would say to him, man, always be willing to be stronger than your strongest excuse, and always be willing to extend a level of grace to both yourself and the others. Because if you haven't needed it yet, I guarantee you it's gonna come a point in time to where you're gonna need another individual to extend a level of grace to you.
I bet you and I have a lot in common. We're not the strongest, smartest, or richest people we know. We're not the fastest or most connected. We're not the best looking or most talented. We don't have the best genetics. But what we do have is something a lot of those other people will never have: the will to work. If there's one unavoidable truth in this world, it's that there is no substitute for putting in the work. There is no shortcut or growth hack or magic pill that can get you around the hard work of doing your job well, of winning something you care about, or of making your dreams come true. People have tried to cut corners and skip steps in this process for as long as hard work has been hard. Eventually, those people either fall behind or get left in the dust, because working your ass off is the only thing that works 100% of the time for 100% of the things worth achieving. Work works. That is the bottom line. No matter what you do, no matter who you are, My entire life has been shaped by that single idea.